Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain. Are you looking for an internet talk radio station for your podcast? Look no further. At the helm of Passionate World Talk Radio are two women that want to provide a spot for you and your podcast to be heard. There are many other places for your podcast, but PWTR has the audience. You will not be disappointed. Our station has been on the internet for the past 16 years. Call us for more information. 484-364-1032 or text Jeannie White, station manager at PHECONNECTSHOW@gmail.com for podcast show details.
Well, good day and welcome. My name is Sheila Wilson, and I am the president of Stop Healthcare Violence. I have a website which is called Stop Healthcare Violence and a couple of Facebook pages. One is Stop Healthcare Violence and Heal the Healer. My disclaimer is the views of the guest may not represent the views of the host or the station. Today, I'm very excited to introduce my guest, who is Thomas Carey Cohen, owner of Southside Multimedia, and he has done a lot in healthcare. Hello, Thomas. How are you?
Hello, Sheila. I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you having me on to talk about your causes and what I have going on, and excited to share.
Thank you. Let the listeners know who you are and what you're doing. I mean, this is you're the owner of Southside Multimedia, but you're a healthcare worker, and that sounds exciting.
Yes, ma'am. Well, yeah, I've heard I live an exciting life. I'm originally from Kentucky, but I moved to Las Vegas out west my senior year of high school, and right when I graduated high school, I got my first healthcare job. It was like an entry level, working with Central Supplies and stuff, and then so I just kind of worked my way up from there. Into materials management, into the operating room, into like medical sales, and then back to patient care with 17 years in dialysis. So,
wow,
kind of 34 years across the gamut, of healthcare, but and a lot of those, I've worked with some of the same, nurses over the years. I kind of knew everybody at all the different hospitals, and so. It was, it's definitely a family. And I studied music in college, but just medical became, my calling, and that was what I was good at. I'm a natural caregiver, so I enjoyed it for years, and also, but then when COVID hit, it kind of changed everything. And I think that everyone would agree with that. And
absolutely.
So it's instigated change in many people's lives, and mine included. I mean, it became to the point where when it first started getting the patients, and no one kind of knew where it was going or how bad it was going to get, and that kind of uncertainty, which in healthcare, you're not used to uncertainty. You're kind of, you kind of know what's going on or know the drill, or, it was,
right.
Daily things. So, that was disconcerting, but, and then just the wear and tear. I'd seen, many patients pass, and especially working in dialysis, you have, the patients usually have multiple problems, and not just their kidney problems. So, you're used to patients passing. That's the part of life and death. But when you start seeing like 3 patients, dying at a time, and and just like a feeling of hopelessness, like there's nothing you can do, and so I mean, and that wore on me, I guess. I mean, I'd seen, I'd worked for 30-something years in healthcare, and you kind of build up that shield where you don't let things affect you, or
right.
You try not to, but it just that kind of shield starts wearing down after a while, and so that was it. Yeah, just started having, and then and Las Vegas was pretty much closed for business, and so my wife said she recognized that I was having a hard time, and that and so she said, well, let's just we had a cabin down in Arizona. We had just finished finishing it, and so she said, let's just sell and move to our cabin, and I tried to commute for an hour for a short time, but I decided that I was going to retire, temporarily retire. I'm not going to say I'll never work, patient care again.
Right.
In fact, I miss it dearly. But I took some months off and just working on this cabin, this property, and we purchased another property a few miles down the road, and it was going to be a vacation rental project, and so I just it's just a natural progression, that this place is such a great retreat, such a great escape, and that helped me that I needed to share that. Well, I can't I'm that's just kind of my nature. I'm a sharing caring person, a natural caregiver, and so I was like, well, it's going to be the retreat or the campground is open to everyone, but it's going to with a special focus for healthcare workers and their families, because they really, the need is great, and it's only going to be greater. The people I know, and reading the stories in the news, and seeing the How I Met You on the Facebook healthcare workers groups, there's a real need. And so if I can help people in that way and help take care of their caregivers, then I'm all in. And so, it started last year, and it was supposed to launch last year, and, just with the construction delays and cost overruns and et cetera, so it kind of got put on the back burner for a little bit, but it's definitely happening. I've I'm kind of going full bore. It's like I'm just going for it, and I'm hoping to help as many people as I can. And not just healthcare workers, their families too. Everyone, everyone's affected. My wife's had to deal with me, and God bless her. 'Cause...
Oh, it is. This is absolutely amazing that you would have property and that you're building, and you're really offering it to the healthcare workers. And I'm sure that one of the reasons is because when COVID hit, as you said, as a nurse and I worked in the ER, I worked in a unit, and I worked on a medical floor with all types of people. When somebody's going to die, when they're going to pass, and you accept it. But when you get when COVID hit, with so many deaths at once, and you were helpless, there was nothing you could do. All of our tricks that we know to help save a patient just wasn't there. And I think that leaves a real mark on your body. You can't, I don't know if you might have a quiet time, and all of a sudden, boom, something comes in your mind, and you say, I'm sure I did that for that patient. Why did that 42-year-old die? There was no reason for him. There was no comorbidity. There was nothing. What was it in that virus that killed him? That type of talk.
And I've actually you may believe it or not, but actually, the first few COVID patients that I took care of, one in particular, that patient was totally sedated, but I could feel that virus wanting to get out of that patient's body and come at me. I couldn't get out of that room fast enough. It was awful, and that's how I knew how bad it was. And then so it was one was scary. It was normally like I'm like one of those I'm of the one of those people that kind of lean in, and if it's a I worked I was on the heart team, and in the operating room, it's like you have to, if you just kind of have to lean. If something's going on, you just go in there and do it. There's no hesitation. You just it kind of gives you something like that gives you a pause a little bit, but I think that if we all, that's the thing with healthcare workers. We stick together, we support each other, and I think as long as that holds true, then we'll be fine. But but they're going to need a place to get away with their families, and so I just figured that this is this perfect place. There's so many things to do, and it's a way you can connect with nature, you can connect with your family, you can have fun, adventure, see things you've never seen before, and that kind of grounds you and kind of can give you a different perspective that can kind of allow you to escape that sort of fatalistic mindset that can happen after after that feeling of hopelessness. It's just, but I think that once people come out and see and experience it, they'll come back all the time, or they'll pack up and move out here. But
right. It's one of those. I don't know if you have PTSD, but many nurses have that, because a lot of times.
I would say that I do. I mean, it's if PTSD. Yeah, I mean, it's I thought for a while I wouldn't call it PTSD, because I think that was just for soldiers in war. But I've heard I've heard of healthcare workers or frontline workers as it's like being in a war. It's a triage, So I never before had sudden bursts of emotion. I almost don't go a day without crying over something. It's either through joy or sadness. They either triggered from something on the news, or so I try to stay away from the news. If I can, I try to stay up to date, but the news will trigger it. Things, so it sometimes better, but there's such a need out there. I mean, I can only imagine. I've been out of direct patient care for a year, and I'm still not completely better, but I can only imagine how worn out and I'm not sure how they do it. These nurses are made of steel.
I've talked to many nurses, Thomas, and some of them worked in ICUs, and when the physicians never were allowed to come into the units, they would talk to the nurses through the glass window. And I'm sure the reason for it is that they didn't want the doctors to get COVID and not be able to do anything. But even in your role in healthcare, what does the nurse do when she doesn't have that set of eyes that the physician has looked at the patient? And these nurses, many of them, I'll stay with many, have PTSD. They can't sleep at night. They don't eat right. And a lot of responsibility was put on them. And I'm sure in your role, too, there wasn't enough personal protection. you just, you had to wear the same mask. I don't know if it happened in your area, but many of our nurses were running around with the same mask for months. One sneeze.
It wasn't that bad, but I can only imagine, yeah, because especially in the summertime, because you're like, well, I don't know about me. As soon as I put on, the full-on gear, unless it's what they call a PAPR, the positive air, a respirator, that at least blows cold air. I can deal with it if it has that, but they didn't have enough of those. So I mean, I could, but I was luckily, working in hospitals that were, they started rationing, but just so people weren't hoarding. But I was lucky we had the facilities, but then the administration of the hospital. I mean, the nurses are one thing. We're in the front lines. They're doing all the work, and the administration's like, at first they didn't know what to do, but then they kind of got into this hunker down mentality, and I was a contractor for the hospital at the end there, but you just didn't seem like they didn't know what to do. I think they didn't know what to do, and they probably, I don't know what's going on now, but now they're realizing that they don't have enough. That the nurses have retired, and there's not as many people going into nursing, and they're realizing that that whole model has changed, and so they're going to need to take care of their workers a lot better. They're going to have to actually show that they care for them, and things are going to have to change if they're going to have people come back into the workforce.
Well, they're going to have, the nurses that are going to stay are going to need places that they can at least maybe sit down for 20 minutes and just rest. And I know a lot of organizations are trying to find, like rooms so that they can lay down. Now, this sounds kind of crazy because we never had that. We were lucky we had lunch. But if they want nurses, they really need to treat them with a lot of respect and to remember what they've gone through. And if they haven't gone through the same thing, then they better learn about it.
Yeah, it's complicated, and it's different in different places, but that's why the space out here that out here in the because we're not too far from where we lived before in Vegas. It's just in northern Arizona, but we're just minutes from the Grand southwest rim of the Grand Canyon, from the Colorado River, Lake Mead, Route 66. So if so there's just so many things to do. I mean, when you come here and you see the geography, I mean, it's kind of, my little town's like right in going towards the southwest rim of the Grand Canyon. So you see these geographical formations that have taken billions of years to form, and it just being in that, just seeing that sort of grounds you in a way that kind of changes your perspective. But then and then if you're if you're into nature or wildlife, I mean the bird watching and wildlife, and if you're a rock hunter, it's like a rock hunter's paradise out here.
Wow.
So I've lived here for I don't know how many years, and I'm still picking up rocks, but I love it. And so it's there's just so much to do, and so it kind of allows you to instead of having the weight of the world and the weight of your patients and everything around you, that's what weighing on you. It allows you to kind of live the life that's kind of experience the life that's right in front of you, and connect with nature, with your family, with yourself, and I think that'll help.
That's like Heal the Healers, and that's
Heal the Healers.
I have that on my website, and just to take care of them. But how about what is this Southside Multimedia?
Well,
Can you tell
sure, absolutely. That's actually a company I created probably 20 odd years ago. I'd studied music in college actually, and I played in bands, and I started getting into more electronic music and doing DJ stuff and actually video production and so I created this, and I was actually part of like a couple other what they call like crews or groups of guys that put on events, and I was part of them. But then we kind of split up, and so I'm like, well, I'm going to do my own thing, and so I created this company, and so it's my wife she's an artist, and so she had a gallery, and so
wow.
We would do like different events, and so all the things I did, so it encompassed art, music, fashion, lifestyle. I was involved in a bunch of different things, and that still carries on to today. I plan to also offer. I was gifted a nice massage table, and I have some massage therapists and Reiki therapists that are open to coming out, and also and ambient electronic music is definitely therapeutic. I'm all into music as therapy. I continue that and that encompasses all media from music and online, and but I'm still old school. I still have vinyl records, but But
my daughter-in-law has vinyl records, and she opened up a little store, and
they're heavy. Yeah, vinyl. Yeah, I tell you, a bag of 50 records is very heavy.
Yeah,
and I don't want to pull my back out. So I'm mostly digital, but but it ranges. And so then the retreat, the camp is called 22 Vikings Camp and Cabin. So in 22 Vikings, that was something that my wife had started. It came from her. And she's very I think she's was Viking in a previous life, but in Vikings they present strength and solidarity, and so that's going to be kind of the ethos too, of strength and solidarity, and so that and where the number 22 goes, I'm not sure, but 22 Vikings, and so I joke with people. I said, but are you going to be one of the 22? So that's, but we incorporate, we try to incorporate fun in everything because fun and laughter and that's the joy in life. You got to find the joy in life, and if you're traumatized and from your working and stuff, that there's no joy in that. I mean,
no.
There's so maybe it'll help them kind of recapture that and able to see that there is that be able to feel that again, because sometimes you lose sight of it, I think.
Well, when do you think that you'll be able to finish up all these cabins?
We were just down there yesterday, and so the actual I'm going to have spaces for like an RV or camper that they can pull in, and an RV space, and then there's going to be a space for like car tent camping, which you can pull in your car and pitch a tent, or if you have one of those car tents that fit on top there, they're neat. And then we'll have like a semi-permanent like tent that's already up, and then we're working on like an A-frame cabin. But the cabin will become later, but I'll have the spaces for RVs and stuff. That'll be up here in a few weeks. But the cabins will be done by summertime, and then we'll be working for. Yeah. So we've already started the groundwork and permits and stuff. So we'll be going full blast here in the next week or so, and And if we get I have a lot of interest in help. I kind of tried to do. I was like trying to do everything myself, which I would get stuff done, but then I would get over. Of course, having still kind of recovering my PTSD. If you get overwhelmed, you kind of take too much on your plate. I kind of, and that happens. So now, I'm not doing it all by myself, and I've put out a call for help and who's interested, who wants to be, and so I've already gotten some great interest, and I think that once the word gets out, that I'll have to find places to fit everyone in, but I'm welcome any assistance if anyone wants to come and help out. It has technical skills and needs to get away, and they can they've got a place to come.
So you're asking for some volunteers to come and
sure.
help
well,
you?
So the volunteers are welcome. Yes, for sure. I did start to go. I was hesitant at first, but I was like, wait a minute, because I'm not a big GoFundMe person. I'm not, and I'm also not looking for a bunch of attention. In fact, I'm more having attention for the cause than myself. And we're always kind of been like that. So I started a GoFundMe to just to help get this project going, quicker, because it's when you're doing things you're on your own, it's hard. It's hard work, just physically, and then financially. It can be hard too. So I mean, so we're getting ready to. This is actually my first interview. Promoting this, and probably once the press release goes out, I'll be doing some TV and stuff. But that's still it's more promoting the cause, not myself. But I welcome you if anyone. I know that especially a lot of the traveling nurses, they travel the country in RVs and live in them, and so they we'll have a place for RVs. We'll have a place. It's a couple acres, and it's not. I'm going to have them, spread out to, where it's not too crowded, and that way, it's people can spread out. There's tons to do. I'm working with some of the tour companies that you can to have discounted rates, and so we're going to have. There's just so much to do, or they can just do nothing. If you would just want to come relax and just listen to the wind and listen to the birds, and you can do that too. There's just, you can kind of just do whatever you want. It's like the ultimate.
Have you really ever sat and listened to the wind and listened to the birds?
Oh, and just this morning, just this morning, yes, ma'am.
That is the first time I actually sat there and listened. It was amazing, because a lot of times as nurses or healthcare workers, we don't do that. We don't stop and do for ourselves, and to sit maybe even on a rock and to just listen. You don't have to hear the patient. You don't have to have anything. But when the wind stops, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, it is. It's you don't realize that other than alarm fatigue, it's just it's I remember hearing alarms in my sleep, and you're even when you're sleeping, you're taking care of patients. That was it was a nightmare. But yeah, that's why when working on this project, like in the months that when I first took off from working in the hospital, I was like, I've got to share this. I've got to. This is what saved me. I have to share it. So I'm hoping that if all goes well, this is going to be just start of a this is going to be my new calling. It's going to be my new and I think the need's going to be great for the foreseeable future. I mean, I think that's they're going to have to you have to focus on mental health and of their employees, and so I thank you again for having me and letting me share my story and my project, and I'm hoping that if you make it out west, make it down to Arizona, northern Arizona, you're welcome to stop by. Even if you don't stay, just come by and we'll show you around. There's so much to do around here. It's beautiful.
It sounds wonderful, but now you're going to have to give me this information. But before we hang up, thank you for coming on and realizing, and because you were part of the pandemic and understand what it was like. That is so important, because our nurses are all healthcare workers, nurses, physicians. They're all having a hard time, and not a whole lot is being done for them. But before I hang up, I need to thank Jeannie White, who is station manager of Passionate World Talk Radio, who I am a host on with my Stop Healthcare Violence, and Lillian Caldwell, and she is the CEO of Passionate World Talk Radio. And Thomas, hopefully you'll come on the show again and tell us.
I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a chance to. I've like stories over the years. I mean, and I have like some experience with well, anytime if you work in bedside care in the hospital for any time at all, you're going to experience one that either has some mental health issues or just through their disease or sickness, whatever, is not in their right mind, or and do get either physically or verbally attacked, and that's happened to me, but nothing too serious, thank God. But but there was just and when you're in that situation at the time, you're just worried about getting your job done and making sure that the patient's safe and you're safe. So you almost kind of just forget that it happened. That was, luckily I didn't have any serious things, but those things do happen. Yeah, I would love to come back.
Okay, so I will sign off now. Talk to you later. Bye.
Are you looking for an internet talk radio station for your podcast? Look no further. At the helm of Passionate World Talk Radio are two women that want to provide a spot for you and your podcast to be heard. There are many other places for your podcast, but PWTR has the audience. You will not be disappointed. Our station has been on the internet for the past 16 years. Call us for more information. 484-364-1032 or text Jeannie White, station manager, at PHECONNECTSHOW@gmail.com for podcast show details. Thank you for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio. You can listen to this program all over again by going over to https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. You can also hear it on Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon, ALEXA, AMFM247.com, every Tuesday evening between 8 and 9 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and all the other podcast directories one can find on the Internet.